That's good to know. Thank you. Should I be concerned by that? This game is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. Keep that in mind. Hey guys, Jaden here, and welcome back to another episode of Doki Doki Literature Club Plus this time. It has been a long time since we have last hopped into the wonderful world of the Literature Club. Individuals suffering from anxiety or depression may not have a positive experience playing this game. We are not going to look at the content warnings. If you choose to do that before watching this episode, you can look that up for yourself. I've played this game before, so I'm familiar with the content, and I am very excited to play. Are you guys ready for this? Man, it's good to be back. It's good to hear this music again. I missed it. Oh, how I've missed it. I'm so excited. Everything looks the same so far. I'm surprised there's no like plus in the logo or anything. Interesting. I was expecting the menu screen to look different. Apparently not. Alright, without further ado, let's jump into this. What the... Hold on a second. I was gonna exit the game to test my recording to make sure that my audio was working properly, because I always do a test to make sure so I don't have audio issues. And when I exited, this happened. What? Oh, weird. So it's like a computer. So this is how... Oh, interesting. Interesting. So this is how they do it for consoles. So we got side stories, files, mail. Oh my gosh. So instead of going into the actual game's files, we have all this. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Well, hey, we discovered something already. We got songs. We got the settings. We've got where we launched Doki Doki. We've got the side stories are stories of friendship that are unrelated to the events of the main game. To get all 6 side stories, try writing poems for different characters and viewing their special scenes. Oh, so in order to see the side stories, we gotta unlock each character's ending. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited to hop back into the world of Doki Doki. Alright, I'm gonna make sure my audio is good, and then we're actually gonna hop into Doki Doki. This is interesting. Metaverse. I like it. So we load up our metaverse virtual computer, which is very interesting. We log into that, and then we open Doki Doki Literature Club. And then it loads the game. Very interesting, very meta already. So that's just great. My name is Jaden. Let's hop into it. Do 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 do. Hey! I see an annoying girl running towards me from the distance. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna need water. I forgot how much reading was gonna be involved in this. Waving her arms in the air like she's totally oblivious to any attention she might draw to herself. That girl is Sayori, my neighbor and good friend since we were children. You know, the kind of friend you'd never see yourself making today, but it just kind of works out because you've known each other for so long. We used to walk to school together on days like this, but starting around high school, she would oversleep more and more frequently, and I'd get tired of waiting up. But if she's gonna chase after me like this, I almost feel better off running away. However, I just sigh and idle in front of the crosswalk and let Sayori catch up to me. I overslept again, but I caught you this time. Maybe, but only because I decided to stop and wait for you. You say that like you were thinking of ignoring me. That's mean, Jaden. Well, if people stare at you for acting weird, then I don't want to think we're a couple or something. Fine, but you did wait for me after all. I guess you don't have it in you to be mean even if you wanted to. Whatever you say, Sayori. It's good to be back. I'm excited. I'm really interested to see if there's anything different in the main game, or if this is going to be pretty much the same, and then the new stuff is the side stories and all that whole computer section. We cross the street together and make our way to school. As we draw near, the streets become increasingly speckled with other students making their daily commute. By the way, Jaden, have you decided on a club to join yet? A club? I told you already, I'm not really interested in joining any clubs. I haven't been looking either. That's not true. You told me you would join a club this year. Did I? I'm sure it's possible that I did in one of our many conversations where I dismissively go along with whatever she's going on about. Sayori likes to worry a little too much about me when I'm perfectly content just getting by on average while spending my free time on games and anime. Why is this protagonist just like me? I was talking about how I'm worried that you won't learn how to socialize or have any skills before college. Your happiness is really important to me, you know. And I know you're happy now, but I die at the thought of you becoming a NEET in a few years because you're not used to the real world. I don't know if the art's updated, like, in this section, but it definitely looks like more HD. I wonder if it was, like, totally redrawn or if it's just, like, upscaled. I think it's all, like, new art because there's a couple new artists on this game. But, like, this facial expression in particular, I don't specifically remember, but it has been a few years since I last played. You trust me, right? Don't make me keep worrying about you. Alright. I'll look at a few clubs if it makes you happy. No promises, though. Will you at least promise me you'll try a little? Yeah, I guess I'll promise you that. Yay! Why do I let myself get lectured by such a carefree girl? More than that, I'm surprised I even let myself relent to her. I guess seeing her worry so much about me makes me want to ease her mind at least a little bit, even if she does exaggerate everything inside her head. The school day is as ordinary as ever, and it's over before I know it. After I pack up my things, I stare blankly at a wall, looking for an ounce of motivation. Clubs. Sayori wants me to check out some clubs. I guess I have no choice but to start with the anime club. Hello? Sayori? Sayori must have come in the classroom while I was spacing out. I look around and realize that I'm the only one left in the classroom. I thought I'd catch you coming out of the classroom, but I saw you just sitting here and spacing out, so I came in. Honestly, you're even worse than me sometimes. I'm impressed. You don't need to wait up for me if it's going to make you late to your own club. Well, I thought you might need some encouragement, so I thought, you know. What? Well, that you could come to my club. Sayori. Yeah? There is no way I'm going to your club. Meanie. Sayori is vice president of the literature club. Not that I was ever aware that she had any interest in literature. In fact, 99% sure she only did it because she thought it would be fun to help start a new club. Since she was the first one to show interest after the one who proposed the club, she inherited the title vice president. That said, my interest in literature is guaranteed to be even less. Yeah, I'm going to the anime club. Peace. Come on, please. Why do you care so much anyway? Well, I kinda told the club yesterday that I'd bring in a new member. And Natsuki made cupcakes and everything. Don't make promises you can't keep. I can't tell if Sayori is really that much of an airhead or if she's so cunning as to have planned all of this out. I let out a long sigh. Fine, I'll stop by for a cupcake, okay? Yes, let's go. And thus, today marks the day that I sold my soul for a cupcake. I dejectedly follow Sayori across the school and upstairs, a section of the school that I rarely visit. Sayori, full of energy, swings open the classroom door. Everyone, the new member is here. I told you, don't call me a new member. I glance around the room. Welcome to the Literature Club. It's a pleasure meeting you. Sayori always says nice things about you. Seriously? You brought a boy? Way to kill the atmosphere. Ah, Jaden. What a nice surprise. Welcome to the club. And here they are. All words escape me in this situation. This club is full of incredibly cute girls. I am sorry, Yuri, your face is being covered by my webcam. I should put my webcam in the bottom. That's probably a good spot for it. I'm gonna do that. Okay, hopefully this is a little better spot for my webcam. I've moved it down. I've also got it facing directly at me since I'm spending most of the time staring straight ahead at the screen. Figure this might be a little bit better. So we'll see how this goes. What are you looking at? If you want to say something, say it. Sorry. Natsuki. The girl with the sour attitude, whose name is apparently Natsuki, is one I don't recognize. Her small figure makes her look like a first-year student. She's also the one who made cupcakes, according to Sayori. You can just ignore her when she gets moody. Sayori says that quietly in my ear and then turns back towards the other girls. Anyway, this is Natsuki, always full of energy. And this is Yuri, the smartest in the club. Don't say things like that. Yuri, who appears comparably more mature and timid, seems to have a hard time keeping up with people like Sayori and Natsuki. Oh, well, it's nice to meet both of you. And it sounds like you already know Monika, is that right? That's right. It's great to see you again, Jaden. Monika smiles sweetly. We do know each other. Well, we rarely talked, but we were in the same class last year. Monika was probably the most popular girl in class. Smart, beautiful, athletic. Basically, completely out of my league. So, having her smile at me so genuinely feels a little... You too, Monika. Come sit down, Jaden. We made a room for you at the table so you can sit next to me or Monika. I'll get the cupcakes. Hey, I made them. I'll get them. Sorry, I got a little too excited. And how about I make some tea as well? The girls have a few desks arranged to form a table. As Sayori mentioned, it's been widened so that there's one space next to Monika and one space next to Sayori. Natsuki and Yuri walk over to the corner of the room where Natsuki grabs a wrap tray and Yuri opens the closet. Still feeling awkward, I take a seat next to Sayori. Natsuki proudly marches back to the table, tray in hand. Okay, are you ready? Oh my gosh, look at that adorable smile. Ta-da! Wow. Dun dun dun! Natsuki lifts the foil off the tray to reveal a dozen white, fluffy cupcakes decorated to look like little cats. The whiskers are drawn with icing, and little pieces of chocolate were used to make the ears. Oh man. I'm gonna have to take some water breaks here and there. This is a lot of reading. I haven't done a visual novel since the last Doki Doki videos. Oof. So cute! I had no idea you were so good at baking, Natsuki. Well, you know. Just hurry and take one. So what I'm immediately noticing, besides that everything's HD, I just want to say Natsuki is facing directly at the camera, like Monika is. And I'm not gonna say like anything spoilerly in these episodes in case you haven't seen a Doki Doki playthrough before and this is your first one, so don't worry about that. I won't spoil anything, but I just will say it's interesting. Previously, all of them were like sideways like this, where they're slightly angled off camera. So it would be this way, slightly angled off camera, where when Natsuki is front and center here, she's facing directly at me. I don't know if that's different. I feel like it is though. Sayori grabs one first, then Monika, and I follow. It's delicious! Sayori talks with her mouth full and has already managed to get icing on her face. I turn the cupcake around in my fingers, looking for the best angle to take a bite. Natsuki is quiet. I can't help but notice her sneaking glances in my direction. Is she waiting for me to take a bite? I finally bite down. The icing is sweet and full of flavor. I wonder if she made it herself. This is really good. Thank you, Natsuki. Why are you thanking me? It's not like I... Haven't I heard this somewhere before? Made them for you or anything? I thought you technically did. Sayori said, well, maybe, but not for you. You know, you dummy. All right. Jeez. I give up on Natsuki's weird tsundere logic and dismiss the conversation. Yuri returns to the table, carrying a tea set. She carefully places the teacup in front of each of us before setting down the teapot next to the cupcake tray. You keep a whole tea set in this classroom? Don't worry, the teachers gave us permission. After all, doesn't a hot cup of tea help you enjoy a good book? I guess. Don't let yourself get intimidated. Yuri's just trying to impress you. That's not... Insulted, Yuri looks away. I meant that, you know. I believe you. Well, tea and reading might not be a pastime for me, but I at least enjoy tea. I'm glad. Yuri faintly smiles to herself in relief. Monica raises an eyebrow and then smiles at me. So, what made you consider the literature club? I was afraid of this question. Something tells me I shouldn't tell Monica that I was practically dragged here by Sayori. Well, I haven't joined any clubs yet, and Sayori seemed really happy here, so that's okay. Don't be embarrassed. We'll make sure you feel right at home, okay? Man, it really... Like, the art isn't that different, but it's like definitely a higher quality, and I feel like she's just staring directly into my soul when they're like front and center in the camera like this. As president of the literature club, it's my duty to make the club fun and exciting for everyone. Monica, I'm surprised. How come you decided to start your own club? You could probably be a board member for any of the major clubs. Weren't you a leader of the debate club last year? Well, you know, to be honest, I can't stand all the politics around the major clubs. Feels like nothing but arguing about budget and publicity and how to prepare for events. I'd much rather take something I personally enjoy and make something special out of it. And if it encourages others to get into literature, then I'm fulfilling that dream. Monica really is a great leader. Yuri also nods in agreement. Then I'm surprised there aren't more people in the club yet. It must be hard to start a new club. You could put it that way. Not many people are very interested in putting out all the effort to start something brand new, especially when it's something that doesn't grab your attention, like literature. You have to work hard to convince people that you're both fun and worthwhile. I feel like this game kind of has to do that in a similar way, which is interesting, because like Doki Doki is first and foremost a visual novel, and the extra things that people talk about and we're like, you gotta play this game, aren't apparent at first, so it's hard to get people into it, which is really interesting. It's really cool to look back on this game after having the knowledge of playing it years ago, even though my memory is a little hazy, but I did play this game a lot, so. But it makes school events like the festival that much more important. I'm confident that we can all really grow this club before we graduate. Right, everyone? Yeah, we'll do our best. You know it. Everyone enthusiastically agrees. Look at us, all together again. Such different girls, all interested in the same goal. Monica must have worked really hard just to find these three. Maybe that's why they were all so delighted by the idea of a new member joining. Though I still don't really know if I can keep up with their level of enthusiasm about literature. So, Jaden, what kind of things do you like to read? Well, considering how little I've read these past few years, I don't really have a good way of answering that. Manga, I mutter quietly to myself, half joking. Natsuki's head suddenly perks up. Nani? It looks like she wants to say something, but she keeps quiet. Not much of a reader, I guess. Well, that can change. What am I saying? I spoke without thinking after seeing Yuri's sad smile. Anyway, what about you, Yuri? Well, let's see. Yuri traces the rim of her teacup with her finger. My favorites are usually novels that build deep and complex fantasy worlds. The level of creativity and craftsmanship behind them is amazing to me. And telling a good story in such a foreign way is equally impressive. Yuri goes on, clearly passionate about her reading. She seemed so reserved and timid the moment I walked in, but it's obvious by the way her eyes light up that she finds her comfort in the world of books, not people. But you know, I like a lot of things. Stories with deep psychological elements usually immerse me as well. Isn't it amazing how a writer can so deliberately take advantage of your own lack of imagination to completely throw you for a loop? Love that line. Just love it, Yuri. Anyway, I've been reading a lot of horror lately. Oh, I read a horror book once. I desperately grasp at something I can relate to at the minimal level. Horror is not usually my cup of tea, especially in books. At this rate, Yuri might as well be having a conversation with a rock. Really? I wouldn't have expected that, Yuri. For someone as gentle as you. I guess you could say that. But if a story makes me think or takes me to another world, then I really can't put it down. Surreal horror is often very successful at changing the way you look at the world, if only for a brief moment. Ugh, I hate horror. Oh? Why is that? Well, Natsuki's eyes dart over to me for a split second. Never mind. That's right, you usually write about cute things, don't you, Natsuki? But what gives you that idea? You left a piece of scrap paper behind last club meeting. It looked like you were working on a poem called Don't Say It Out Loud. And give that back. Fine. Your cupcakes, your poems, everything you do is just as cute as you are. Sayori sidles up behind Natsuki and puts her hands on her shoulders. I'm not cute. Natsuki, you write your own poems? Well, I guess sometimes. Why do you care? I think that's impressive. I couldn't write my own poems. I suck at writing. Why don't you share them sometime? No. Natsuki averts her eyes. You wouldn't like them. Not very confident writer yet? I understand how Natsuki feels. Sharing that level of writing takes more than just confidence. The truest form of writing is writing to oneself. You must be willing to open up to your readers, exposing your vulnerabilities and showing even the deepest reaches of your heart. Do you have writing experience too, Yuri? Maybe if you share some of your work, you can set the example and help Natsuki feel comfortable enough to share hers. Suddenly that confidence is going away. I guess it's the same for Yuri. Aw, I wanted to read everyone's poems. We all sit in silence for a moment. Okay, I have an idea, everyone. Natsuki and Yuri look quizzically at Monika. Let's all go home and write a poem of our own. Then, the next time we meet, we can all share them with each other. That way, everyone is even. Yeah, let's do it. Plus, now that we have a new member, I think it will help us get a little more comfortable with each other and strengthen the bond of the club. Isn't that right, Jaden? Monika smiles warmly at me once again. Hold on, there's still one problem. Eh? What's that? Now that we're back on the original topic of me joining the club, I bluntly come forth with what's been on my mind the entire time. I never said I would join this club. Sayori may have convinced me to stop by, but I never made any decision. I still have other clubs to look at, and I lose my train of thought. All four girls stare back at me with dejected eyes. But, I'm sorry, I thought... Jaden... You all... I'm defenseless against these girls. How am I supposed to make a clear-headed decision when it's like this? That is, if writing poems is the price that I need to pay in order to spend every day with these beautiful girls... Right. Okay, I've decided then. I'll join the literature club. One by one, the girls' eyes light up. Yes, I'm so happy. Sayori wraps her arms around me, jumping up and down. Hey, you really did scare me for a moment. If you really just came for the cupcakes, I would be super upset. Then that makes it official. Welcome to the literature club. Thanks, I guess. Okay, everyone. I think with that, we can officially end today's meeting on a good note. Everyone remember tonight's assignment. Write a poem to bring the next meeting so we can all share. Monika looks over at me once more. Jaden, I look forward to seeing how you express yourself. Yeah. Can I really impress the class star Monika with my mediocre writing skills? I already feel the anxiety welling up inside me. Meanwhile, the girls continue to chit-chat as Yuri and Natsuki clean up their food. Hey Jaden, since we're already here, do you want to walk home together? That's right, Sayori and I never walk home together anymore because she always stayed after school for clubs. Sure, might as well. Yay! And with that, the two of us depart the club room and make our way home. The whole way, my mind wanders back and forth between the four girls. Sayori, Natsuki, Yuri, and of course, Monika. Will I really be happy spending every day after school in a literature club? Perhaps I'll have the chance to go closer to one of these girls. Everyone's favorite Monika? Or lovable childhood friend Sayori? Or cutesy blunt Natsuki? Or shy and bookish Yuri? Choices? Alright, I just need to make the most of my circumstances, and I'm sure good fortune will find me. And I guess that starts with writing a poem tonight. Oh boy. It's time to write a poem. Pick words you think your favorite club member will like. Something good might happen with whoever likes your poem the most. Okay. Well. Who do I want to write for? I think out of these three, Yuri's definitely my favorite. But I like all of them a lot. I think Monika's still number one for me, and Yuri's a close second. And this tied between Natsuki and Sayori because I can't pick, and I can't put one of them in last because I like all the Doki Doki girls. They're great. So Sayori liked passion. I gotta remember this. Pain, also Sayori. Ah, geez, okay. Comfort, also Sayori. What the heck? Blessed, Yuri. Eternity, Yuri. Incongruent, Yuri. Tenacious, Yuri. Graveyard, Yuri. Yeah, she likes all the big words. Entropy. Extreme. Excitement. Aw, dang it. Beauty. Also Sayori. Fester. Infinite. Heaven Sent. This is quite the poem, by the way. Just 20 random words. Heartbeat. Oh, we got one for Natsuki in there. Strawberry. We got a couple for Natsuki in there. Defeat. Melancholy. Uncontrollable. There we go. Not too shabby. I'll probably do all the girls' routes eventually. I don't know if I'll do them all in like a video, or I might just like show those specific scenes later on. But we'll play through the whole game once, and I'll go after Yuri. Hi again, Jaden. Glad to see you didn't run away on us. Nah, don't worry. This might be a little strange for me, but I'll at least keep my word. Well, here I am, back at the literature club. I was the last to come in, so everybody else is already hanging out. Thanks for keeping your promise, Jaden. I hope this isn't too overwhelming of a commitment for you, making you dive headfirst into literature when you're not accustomed to it. Oh, come on, like he deserves any slack. Sayori told me you didn't even want to join any clubs this year. And last year, too. I don't know if you plan to just come here and hang out or what, but if you don't take this seriously, then you won't see the end of it. Natsuki, you certainly have a big mouth for someone who keeps her manga collection in the club room. Natsuki finds herself stuck between saying manga and Monika, and I switched those. Manga is literature. Swiftly defeated, Natsuki plops back into her seat. Don't worry, guys. Jaden always gives his best as long as he's having fun. He helps me with busy work without me even asking, like cooking, cleaning my room. How dependable. Sorry, that's because your room is always so messy it's distracting, and you almost set your house on fire once. Is that so? You two are really good friends, aren't you? I might be a little jealous. How come? You and Jaden can become good friends too. It's Sayori. Oblivious as always. As usual, Sayori seems oblivious to the weird situation she just put me into. Oh, Yuri even brought you something today, you know. Wait, Sayori? Me? Not really. Don't be shy. It's really nothing. What is it? Never mind. Sayori made it sound like a big deal when it's really not. What do I do? I'm sorry, Yuri. I wasn't thinking. I guess that means it's up to me to rescue this situation. A little all socially awkward me. Alright. Hey, don't worry about it. First of all, I wasn't expecting anything in the first place, so any nice gesture from you is a pleasant surprise. It'll make me happy no matter what. Is that so? Yeah, I won't make it a big deal if you don't want it to be. Alright. Well, here. Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book. I didn't want you to feel left out, so I picked out a book I thought you might enjoy. It's a short read, so it should keep your attention even if you don't usually read. And we could, discuss it if you wanted. This is... How is this girl accidentally being so cute? She even picked out a book she'd think I'd like, despite me not reading much. Yuri, thank you. I'll definitely read this. I enthusiastically take the book. Phew. Well, you can read it at your own pace. I look forward to hearing what you think. Now that everyone's settled in, I expect Monica to kick off some scheduled activities for the club, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Sayori and Monica are having a cheery conversation in the corner. Yuri's face is already buried in the book, and I can't help but notice her intense expression, like she was waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. I'm really curious to talk to Yuri a bit more. Ooh, alright, we did it. We're on the Yuri path, boys. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? But at the same time, I feel bad for distracting her from reading. I catch a glimpse at the cover of her book. It looks like the same book that she lent to me. More than that, she seems to be on the first few pages. Ah. Crud. I think she noticed me looking at her. She sneaks another glance, and our eyes meet for a split second. Oh. Oops, I deleted the text box. But that only makes her hide her face deeper in her book. Sorry, I was just spacing out. I mutter this, sensing that I made her a bit uncomfortable. Oh, it's fine. If I was focused, then I probably would have noticed in the first place. But I'm just rereading a bit of this, so... That's the book you gave me, right? Mm-hmm. I wanted to reread some of it, not for any particular reason. Just curious, how come you have 2 copies of the same book? Well, when I stopped at the bookstore yesterday... that's not what I meant. I mean, I just happened to buy 2 of them. I see. There's something fairly obvious here that Yuri isn't telling me, but I decided to let it go. I'll definitely start reading it soon. I'm glad to hear. Once it starts to pick up, you might have a hard time putting it down. It's a very engaging and relatable story. Is that so? What's it about, anyway? Well... Yuri closes the book and scans her eyes over the back. The book is titled Portrait of Markov. There's an ominous-looking eye symbol on the front cover. Alright, I just wanted to make sure I don't accidentally give anything away. Basically, it's about this girl in high school who moves in with her long-lost younger sister, but as soon as she does, her life gets really strange. She gets targeted by these people who escaped from a human experiment prison, and while her life is in danger, she needs to desperately choose who to trust. No matter what she does, she ends up destroying most of her relationships, and her life starts to fall apart. It's kind of dark, isn't it? Yuri made it sound like it was going to be a nice story, so the dark turn came from nowhere. Yuri gently giggles all of a sudden. Are you not a fan of that sort of thing, Jaden? No, it's not that. I mean, I can definitely enjoy those kind of stories, so don't worry. I hope so. Yeah, I totally forgot Yuri is into those things. She's so shy and reclusive on the outside, but her mind seems to be completely different. It's just that those kind of stories, they challenge you to look at life from a strange new perspective, when horrible things happen just not because someone wants to be evil, but because they have their own goals or their own philosophy that they believe in. Then suddenly, when you thought you related to the protagonist, they're made out to be the naive one for letting their one-sided morals interfere with the villain's plans. I'm rambling again, aren't I? Not again. I'm sorry. Hey, don't apologize. I haven't lost interest or anything. Well, I guess it's alright then. But I feel like I should let you know that I have this problem. When I let things like books and writing fill my thoughts, I kind of forget to pay attention to other people. So I'm sorry if I end up saying something strange. And please stop me if I start talking too much. I really don't think you need to worry. That just means you're passionate about reading. The least I can do is listen. It's a literature club after all. That's true. In fact, I might as well get started reading it, right? You don't have to. What are you saying? Just a moment ago you were looking forward to it. Let me just get the book. I quickly retrieved the book that I had put into my bag. Alright, it's fine if I sit here, right? I slip into the seat next to Yuri's. Yeah. Are you sure? You seem a little apprehensive. I'm sorry, it's not that I don't want you to, it's just something I'm not very used to. That is, reading in company with someone. I see. Well, just tell me if I end up distracting you or anything. Alright. I open the book and start the prologue. I soon understand what Yuri means about reading in company. It's if I can feel her presence over my shoulder as I read. It's not particularly a bad thing, maybe a little distracting, but the feeling is somewhat comforting. Yuri's in the corner of my eye. I realize that she's not actually looking at her own book. I glance over. It looks like she's reading from my book instead. Sorry, I was just... Yuri, you really apologize a lot, don't you? I do? I don't really mean to. Sorry. I mean... Here, this should work, right? I slide my desk until it's up against Yuri's, then hold my book more between the two of them. I suppose so. Yuri timidly closes her own copy. Once we each lean in a bit, our shoulders are almost touching. It feels like my left arm is in the way, so instead I use my right hand to hold the book open. I guess that makes it kind of difficult to turn the page. Here. Aw, look at this art. Look at this art. Look at this art. Get me out of the frame. Get me out of here. I don't belong here. It's so good. This is some top quality art right here. Yuri takes her left arm and holds the left side of the book between her thumb and her forefinger. I do the same with my right arm on the right side of the book. That way, I turn a page and Yuri slides it under her thumb after it flips to her side. But in holding it like this, we're huddled even closer than before. It's actually kind of distracting me, as if I can feel the warmth of Yuri's face and she's in the corner of my vision. Are you ready? To turn the page. Sorry, I think I got a bit distracted for a second. I glance over at Yuri's face again and our eyes meet. I don't know how I'll be able to keep up with her. That's okay. You're not as used to reading, right? I don't mind being patient if it takes you a bit longer. It's probably the least I can do, since you've been so patient with me. Yeah, thanks. We continue reading. Yuri no longer asks me if I'm ready to turn the page. Instead, I just assume she finished it before me, so I turn to my own volition. We continue the first chapter in silence. Even so, turning each page almost feels like an intimate exchange. My thumb gently letting go of the page, letting it flutter over to her side as it catches it under her own thumb. Hey, Yuri? This might be a silly thought, but the main character kind of reminds me of you a little bit. You think so? How does she? Well, I guess she's more blunt in a lot of ways, but she also second guesses all the things she says or does, like she's afraid she'll do something wrong. It's not like I can see into your head or anything, but they're kind of reminiscent of some of your mannerisms. I see. Yuri remains silent for a moment. But Jaden, that's probably a terrible thing to have in common with her. Oh, that's so embarrassing that you think that. Wait, I didn't mean it in a bad way or anything. Sorry, I really didn't know you were self-conscious about that sort of thing. I guess I more meant that it's kind of cute. What are you saying all of a sudden? Okay, everyone, that's enough. I think it's about time we share today's poems with each other. We might not have enough time if we wait too long. Yuri exhales, spared from finishing her thought. Is that alright, Yuri? You look kind of down. I'm sorry if you haven't been looking forward to this. Oh, it's not. It's fine. Yuri releases her hand from the book, causing it to close on top of my thumb. Alright, I guess I'll do some more reading tonight, or would you prefer I only read it with you? I guess I don't have too much of a preference either way. In that case, I'll read a little more tonight. It'll be more fun to read with you after it picks up a bit, you know? That's good reasoning. In that case, feel free to finish the first 2 chapters in your own time. Alright. I stand up, I make a mental note of where I left off in the book, slipping it back in my bag. By the way, did you remember to write a poem last night? Yeah. My relaxation ends. I can't believe I agreed to do something so embarrassing. I couldn't really find much inspiration since I've never really done this before. Well, now that everyone's ready, why don't you find someone to share with? I can't wait! Sayori and Monica enthusiastically pull out their poems. Sayori's is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. On the other hand, Monica wrote hers in a composition notebook. I can already see Monica's pristine handwriting from where I sit. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. I do the same. Who should I show my poem to first? Monica, of course. Monica is best girl. That's why she's on the cover of the game, after all. And speaking of the cover of the game, little detour, the physical edition that's coming out for the consoles actually got delayed, so I don't have that with me, which is why I'm playing on PC, but I did order it, so when it eventually shows up, I would like to do an unboxing video of that. So if you guys are interested, let me know down in the comments. And while you're there, you want to hit the like button? I appreciate it. My voice appreciates it from this series. It might kill my voice a little bit, but I have a lot of fun with this game. So, back to it. Yesterday, Monica seemed eager to read my poem, and I want her to know that I'm putting in my effort. Hi, Jaden. Have a good time so far? Yeah. Good. Glad to hear it. By the way, since you're new and everything, if you ever have any suggestions for the club, like new activities or things we can do better, I'm always listening. Don't be afraid to bring things up, okay? Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Of course I'll be afraid to bring things up. I'm much better off just going with the flow until I'm more settled in. Anyway, want to share your poem with me? It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to. Don't worry, Jaden. We're all a little embarrassed today, you know? But it's that sort of barrier we all learn to get past soon. Yeah, that's true. I hand Monica my poem. Great job, Jaden. I was just going ooh in my head while reading it. It's really metaphorical. I'm not sure why, but I didn't expect you to go for something so deep. I guess I underestimated you. It's easiest for me to keep everyone's expectations low. That way, it always counts when I put in some effort. That's not very fair. Well, I guess it worked anyway. You know that Yuri likes this kind of writing, right? Yeah, that may or may not have been what I was going for. Writing that's full of imagery and symbolism, unlike Sayori, who likes simple and direct words to describe happiness and sadness. Yuri likes it when readers are left to derive their own meaning out of it. It's very challenging to write like that effectively, both allowing people to get something out of it just by feel or letting them deeply analyze all the nuances. It can take years of practice, which I'm assuming Yuri has at this point. I never really asked, though. I'm sure I'm nowhere near her level yet. Don't worry so much about that. You do your own thing. Just keep exploring and learn by trying new things. I'm sure I'll end up trying different things a lot. It could take a while before I feel comfortable doing this. That's okay. I'd love to see you try new things. That's the best way to find the kind of style that suits you. Everyone else might be a little biased towards their own styles, but I'll help you find what suits you the most. So, don't force yourself to write the way everyone else wants you to write. It's not like you have to worry about impressing them or anything. Yeah, about that. Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims not to be very good. Well, that's because I have to sound confident. It doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know? I see. Well, let's read it then. Hole in wall. It couldn't have been me. See, the direction the spackle protrudes, a noisy neighbor, an angry boyfriend. I'll never know. I wasn't home. I peer inside for a clue. No, I can't see. I reel, blind, like a film left out in the sun. But it's too late. My retina's already scorched with a permanent copy of the meaningless image. It's just a little hole. It wasn't too bright. It was too deep, stretching forever into everything. A hole of infinite choices. I realize now that I wasn't looking in. I was looking out. And he, on the other side, was looking in. Ooh, very deep, very metaphorical, and I understand what it's going for. I've picked up perfectly, and I'm not just saying that, but I'm not going to explain it either. So what do you think? It's very freeform, if that's what you'd call it. Sorry, I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback. It's okay. Kind of style has gotten pretty popular nowadays. That is, a lot of poems have been putting emphasis on the timing between the words and the lines. When performed out loud, it can be really powerful. What was the inspiration behind this one? Well, I'm not sure if I know how to put it. I guess you could say I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poems a bit. An epiphany? Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that because it's kind of coming on strongly. Maybe after everyone's better friends with each other. Anyway, here's Monica's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. If you try so hard to make it perfect, then you're never going to make any progress. Just force yourself to get something down on paper and tidy it up later. Another way to think about it is this. If you keep your pen in the same spot for too long, you'll just get a big dark puddle of ink. So just move your hand and go with the flow. That's actually like a really good writing tip. I used to do a lot of creative writing back in the day, but I was always I'd get stuck on I had an idea in my head of what I wanted, but I could never figure out how to write it, and I'd just get stuck, and I'd never end up going anywhere with it. So just getting your ideas out on the paper and not worrying about how they're formatted or if the story is exactly right is top tier writing advice. Good job, Monica. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening. Sayori. This is a good poem, Jaden. Are you sure it's your first time? Of course. It's not that good. My kind of guy would be writing poems in his spare time. I guess you're right. But that's why it impressed me. Well, to be honest, I was afraid that you wouldn't do it seriously or that you wouldn't write one at all. I'm really happy that you wrote one. It reminds me how you're really a part of our club now. Not to mention the fact that I'm standing in front of you in the club room. Well, of course. I'm not really into it yet, but that doesn't mean I'll break my promise. See? It's like I said before, Jaden. Deep down, you're not selfish at all, you know? Trying new things like this for other people. That's something only really good people do. Thanks, Sayori. I'm not sure if Sayori sees the full picture of my motive here. Then again, I can't deny that she's part of the reason I joined, knowing how much this means to her and all. Yeah, and I'm gonna make sure you have lots of fun here, okay? That will be my way of thanking you. Alright, I'm gonna hold you to that then. Yay! Now, you'll read my poem too, right? Don't worry, I'm really bad at this. We'll see about that. Dear sunshine, the way you glow through my blinds in the morning, it makes me feel like you missed me. Kissing my forehead to help me out of bed, making me rub the sleepy from my eyes. Are you asking me to come out and play? Are you trusting me to wish away a rainy day? I look above, the sky is blue. It's a secret, but I trust you too. If it wasn't for you, I could sleep forever, but I'm not mad. I want breakfast. Oh, Sayori, this is just a guess, but did you wait until this morning to write this? No, just a little bit. You can't answer just a little bit to a yes or no question. I forgot to do it last night. Well, at least that makes me feel a little better about myself. Don't be mean. I still tried my best. Yeah, I didn't mean to say it was a bad poem. It came out nice, or how should I put it? It sounds just like you. Really? Yeah. Especially that last line. I made eggs and toast. Even though you were late to school? It's bad to skip breakfast. I get all cranky. Well, I guess there's no point in arguing. Anyway, thanks for showing me. This was so much fun. Monika's the best. Yeah. But next time I won't forget, and I'm going to write the best poem ever. I guess I look forward to it. Yuri. As Yuri reads the poem, I notice her eyes lighten. Exceptional. What was that? Did I say that out loud? Yuri first covers her mouth, but ends up covering her whole face. He's gonna hate me. You really didn't do anything wrong, Yuri. That's... I guess you're right. What am I getting so nervous for? Yuri takes a breath. So, what kind of writing experience did you have? Your use of imagery and metaphors indicates you've written a lot of poetry before. Really? Wow, that's a huge compliment coming from you. This is actually my first time, really. Huh? Yuri stares blankly, then looks at my poem again. Well, I know that. I just meant, Yuri trails off, unable to find an excuse. She traces her finger along the words in the poem as if breaking it down more thoroughly. Yeah, okay. This is the reason I was able to tell. It's just that there are specific writing habits that are usually typical of new writers, and having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing to recognize in new writers is they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they kind of form-fit the two together. The end result is both the style and expressiveness are weakened. Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering's completely gone, and she sounds like an expert. Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There's so many different skills and techniques that go into even writing a simple poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it all comes with practice and learning by example and trying new things. I also hope that everyone else in the club gives you valuable feedback. And Natsuki can be a little biased, though. Biased? How? Well, never mind. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry. It's fine. I'm not sure if Yuri's apologizing to herself, or to me, or to Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now? Please do. I'd love to share my thought process behind it. Yuri smiles dreamily, as if that's a rare opportunity for her. Which, in itself, is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? Though I think the poems are also more HD. The poems look really good. Ow, that's my elbow. Ghosts under the light. The tendrils of my hair illuminate beneath the amber glow, bathing. It must be this one, the last remaining streetlight to have withstood the test of time, the last yet to be replaced by the sickening blue-green hue of the future. I bathe, calm, breathing air of the present, but living in the past. The light flickers, and I flicker back. I'm sorry I have such terrible handwriting. What? I wasn't thinking that at all. But it took you a long time to read. Well, I just don't read script very often. I actually think your handwriting is pretty. That's a relief. Also, I liked the poem. Even though it's short, it was really descriptive. It wasn't too short. I usually write longer poems. No, not at all. I'm really glad you like it. I'll be honest. Since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose. Are you into ghosts, Yuri? Actually, the story isn't about a ghost at all, Jaden. Really? I must have totally missed the point. Well, I suppose you did only glance over it after all. But remember that poets often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences in their work. They usually do more than tell just a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost, lingering in the last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of the past, and soon to be left with nothing. That's a lot more solemn putting it that way. I hadn't even thought of that. It's impressive. It's nothing, really. Yours was impressive too, so... Nah. If anything, I could probably learn a thing or two from you. You think so? Yeah, of course. You know, I was really nervous about doing all this, but in the end I enjoyed it. I'm gonna keep doing my best for you, Jaden. Me too. And last but not least, Natsuki. Well, it's about what I expected from someone like you. It's a little blunt. Well, excuse me, it's not like I said it was bad. It just didn't evoke any emotions. So basically, it's not cute enough for your tastes. Do you want to get smacked? I'll pass, thank you. Whoopsies. Starting off on the wrong foot. Well, anyway, I guess I need to show you mine. Not that you'll like it. Eagles can fly. Monkeys can climb. Crickets can leap. Horses can race. Owls can seek. Cheetahs can run. Eagles can fly. People can try, but that's about it. Yeah, I told you weren't gonna like it. I like it. What? Just be honest. I am. Why are you so convinced I wouldn't like it? Well, because everyone in high school thinks that writing has to be all sophisticated and stuff, so people don't even take my writing seriously. But isn't the point of poems for people to be able to express themselves? Your writing style wouldn't make your message any less valid. Yes, exactly. I like it when it's easy to read, but it hits you hard. Like in this poem, seeing everyone around you do great things can be really disheartening, so I decided to write about it. Yeah, I understand. But the one nice thing about simple writing is it puts more weight on the wordplay. Like I set up for the rhyme at the end, but made it fall flat on purpose. It helps bring out the feeling in the last line. So you did. I guess more went into it than I realized. That's what it means to be a pro. I'm glad you learned something. Didn't expect that from the youngest one here, did you? Yeah, I guess not. I decided to humor her with the last comment. I don't really care how old everyone is, but if Natsuki's feeling proud, then I won't take that away from her. Phew. My thoughts exactly. There's a lot of reading. I guess that's everyone. Now I glance around the room. It's a little more stressful than I anticipated. It's if everyone is judging me for my mediocre writing abilities. Even if they're just being nice, there's no way my poem can stand up to theirs. This is a literature club after all. I guess that's what I ended up getting myself into. Across the room, Sayori and Monica are happily chatting. Again. My eyes land on Yuri and Natsuki. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper, sharing their respective poems. As they read in tandem, I watch each of their expressions change. Natsuki's eyebrows furrow in frustration. Meanwhile, Yuri smiles sadly. What's with this language? Eh? Did you say something? Oh, it's nothing. Natsuki dismissively returns the poem to the desk with one hand. I guess you could say it's fancy. Ah, thanks. Yours is cute. Cute? Did you completely miss the symbolism or something? It's clearly about the feeling of giving up. How can that be cute? I know that. I just meant the language, I guess. I was trying to say something nice. You mean you had to try that hard to come up with something nice to say? Thanks, but it really didn't come out nice at all. Well, I do have a couple suggestions. If I was looking for suggestions, I would have asked someone who actually liked it. Which people did, by the way. Sayori liked it, and Jaden did too. So based on that, I'll gladly give you some suggestions of my own. First of all, excuse me, I appreciate the offer, but I spent a long time establishing my writing style. I don't expect it to change so soon, unless of course I come across something particularly inspiring, which I haven't yet. And Jaden liked my poem too, you know. He even told me he was impressed by it. Oh, catfight. Natsuki suddenly stands up. Oh, I didn't realize you were so invested in trying to impress our new member, Yuri. That's not what I... You're just... Yuri stands up as well. Maybe you're just jealous that Jaden appreciates my advice more than he appreciates yours. And how do you know he didn't appreciate my advice more? Are you that full of yourself? No. If I was full of myself, I would deliberately go out of my way to make everything I do overly cutesy. Is everything okay? Well, you know what? I was the one whose boobs magically grew a size bigger as soon as Jaden started showing up. I forgot about that line. That's a little brutal, Natsuki. Natsuki! Natsuki, that's a little... This doesn't involve you. I don't like the fighting, guys. Suddenly, both girls turned towards me as if they just noticed I was standing there. Jaden, she's just trying to make me look bad. That's not true. She started it. If she could get over herself and learn to appreciate that simple writing is more effective, then this wouldn't have happened in the first place. What's the point in making your poems all convoluted for no reason? The meaning should jump out at the reader, not force them to have to figure it out. Help me explain that to her, Jaden. Wait, there's a reason we have so many deep and expressive words in our language. It's the only way to convey complex feelings and meaning the most effectively. Avoiding them is not only unnecessarily limiting yourself, it's also a waste. You understand that, right, Jaden? Well? How did I get dragged into this in the first place? It's not like I know anything about writing, but whomever I agree with, they'll probably think more highly of me. So, of course, it's gonna be... I think last time I just had Sayori help. Because I don't want to agree with one or the other, so help me, Sayori. Natsuki... Natsuki glares at me, drawing up any words I had in my mouth. So instead, I turn to Yuri. Yuri... But Yuri's expression is so defenseless that I can't bring myself to say anything to her. Sayori... yeah. Everyone's fighting is making Sayori uncomfortable. There we go. Problem solved. Crisis averted. How can the two of you keep fighting when you know you're making your friend feel like this? Jaden... Well, that's her problem. This isn't about her. I agree. It's unfair for others to interject their own feelings into our conflict. Yeah, unless Sayori wants to tell Yuri what a stuck-up jerk she's being. She would never. It's your immaturity that's made her upset in the first place. Excuse me. Are you listening to yourself? This is exactly why nobody likes... Stop. Natsuki, Yuri, you guys are my friends. I just want everyone to get along and be happy. My friends are wonderful people, and I love them because of their differences. Natsuki's poems, they're amazing because they give you so many feelings with just a few words. And Yuri's poems are amazing because they paint beautiful pictures in your head. Everyone's so talented, so why are we fighting? But because... oh, well... Also, Natsuki's cute and there's nothing wrong with that. And Yuri's boobs are the same as they always were. Ah, Sayori. Big and beautiful. Ay. Sayori. Sayori stands triumphantly. Monica stands behind her with a bewildered expression. I'll go make some tea. Yuri rushes off. Natsuki sits down with a blank expression on her face, staring at nothing. So this is why Sayori's vice president, I whisper to Monica. She nods in return. To be honest, I might come off as a good leader and I can organize things, but I'm not very good with people. I couldn't even bring myself to interject. As president, it's kind of embarrassing of me. Nah, it's not like I can blame you. I wasn't able to say anything either. Well, I guess that just means Sayori's amazing in her own way, isn't she? You could say that. She might be an airhead, but sometimes it's weirdly suspicious how she knows exactly what she's doing. I see. Take good care of her, okay? I would hate to see her get herself hurt. That makes two of us, Monica. That makes two of us. You can count on me! Monica smiles sweetly at me, causing my stomach to knot. Such a genuine person really does make a good president, regardless of what she says. If only I could get the chance to talk to her a little more. Okay, everyone, it's just about time for us to leave. How do y'all feel about sharing poems? It was a lot of fun. Well, I'd say it was worth it. It was alright. Well, mostly. Jaden, how about you? I'd say the same. It was a neat thing to talk about with everyone. Awesome! In that case, we'll do the same thing tomorrow. And maybe you learned something from your friends, too. So your poems will turn out even better. I think to myself, I did learn a little more about the kind of poems everyone likes. With any luck, it means I can also do a better job impressing those I want to impress. I nod to myself with newfound determination. Jaden, Ready to walk home? Sure, let's go. Sayori beams at me. It truly has been a while since Sayori and I spent this much time together. I can't really say I'm not enjoying it either. Sayori, about what happened earlier. What do you mean? You know, between Yuri and Natsuki? Does that kind of thing happen often? No. That's really the first time I've seen them fight like that. I promise they're both wonderful people. You don't hate them, do you? No, I don't hate them. I just wanted your opinion, that's all. I can see why they'd make good friends with you. Phew. You know, Jaden, it's nice that I get to spend time with you in the club, but I think seeing you get along with everyone is what makes me the happiest. And I think that everyone really likes you too. And that's... Every day is going to be so much fun. It looks like Sayori still hasn't caught on to the kind of situation I'm in. Sure, being friends with everyone is nice, but does it really need to stop there? We'll just have to see what the future holds, Sayori. I pat her on the shoulder. I say that more to myself than her, but it's easy to use Sayori as an internal monologue sometimes. Okay, let's do this. And our relationship with the club members may not end there, but this episode definitely will, because I have been talking for quite a while. We've been going on for a while now also. It's a good place to wrap it up. What do you think about that sick transition? I know. Thank you guys so much for watching the first episode of Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. I'm really excited to have this game out and to get back into this wonderful club. It's going to be quite the adventure, and I'm excited to see what else the future holds. So if you did enjoy, please consider leaving a like or subscribing if you're not already. It helps out the channel immensely. I appreciate all your support of these videos, and I'm looking forward to a new series of Doki Doki and all the side stories and extras that it has to offer. So, until next time, later!